Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my brand new channel and my first ever video, and it's part of the Summer Fantasy collaboration with MiniScenes GB and Crafty YouTubers United. So the plan for today is to create some mini fantasy dog artworks with a distressed finish. As soon as Tracey said the theme was fantasy, I went straight to my two favourite topics, dogs and space, and combined those together. We're going to do this by generating unique space fantasy images of dogs using AI, printing images and transferring to timber using Mod Podge, distressing the images, and then we're going to protect with a coat of epoxy resin. So here we are in Microsoft Designer. You just go ahead and enter text that describes the image that you're looking for. So for me, my favourite type of dog isn't really a breed, it's scruffy. So I enter all of the words I can think that will describe the type of dog with the fantasy space background theme that I'm looking for. Then when I click on generate, there are 4 images generated, and I just went through and chose the one I loved the most and then downloaded it. So after resizing it, just using Publisher, I printed it out on my desktop printer, and then we're ready to do the transfer. So I'm using these plywood coasters, which are just very economical ones from KMart, and I'm also going to be using Mod Podge, and the Mod Podge that I'm using today is the matte. And the great thing about cutting these out, you don't have to be very fussy because the edges can overhang and you can deal with those later. So using a brush, I'm just going to generously apply the Mod Podge to both surfaces. So I chose these timber coasters not to use as coasters, although you could if you used a heat-proof resin at the end, but because they create a cute, quirky little frame for my artwork, and I thought that they look great sitting on a little mini easel on my desk together. You'll notice that I switch between different images of the dogs I'm using. I'm sorry about that. It was just a matter of which ones I was working on at the time. I did end up creating 3 in total. This one I looked for a cavoodle, and the others I looked for a pug and a scruffy sort of a stray dog. So this was what the AI generated. And if you do this and you don't like the image you end up with, you can just very quickly go back and tweak the text to get something more to your liking. You learn quite quickly what to avoid or which words to emphasize, etc. So here I'm just bonding together the copy paper with the print on it and the timber coaster, the substrate, and just pressing it together and sitting aside to dry. Next, after it's dried, which you can do naturally, or you could use a heat source such as a hairdryer or a heat gun, you're going to take a dish of water. I'm using just warm tap water here, and you're going to gently start rubbing all over the image. And what you're doing is you're slowly removing layers of paper, and you'll feel it coming off under your fingertips. It's a bit of a funny feeling to start off with, but as you do, the image will slowly be revealed. And when you start working towards those overhangs on the substrate, on the wooden coasters, you'll find that the edges just come off underneath your fingers, which is why I was explaining you don't need to be terribly fussy with your cutting. So this can take a couple of sessions. You might like to do one, put it down to dry, and then come back and finish it off, which is in fact what I did with these 3. And the best way, I believe, is to just go slowly, keep it very damp, be very gentle. It is just paper after all. And this image transfer method using Mod Podge is very heavily used by crafters and does give a great effect. And I'm sure if you Googled on YouTube, there'd be lots and lots of tutorials of using Mod Podge for image transfer. So here I am just pretty much finishing up there and just checking that I've got every last little piece of paper, and he's looking very handsome, I think. I was very happy with the images that they came out, and overall I was looking for a more distressed look than this though. So the next step is I'm going to use paints and coloured pencils just to start adding in some more details, and I'm going to emphasize some areas, and I'm going to use just these watercolor paints to, I guess, wash out some areas, because my overall look, my goal is to have a distressed, faded look. Like they've been these little precious artworks that have been in the family for generations. So I'm just here using, these pencils are just very economical pencil set. These are from KMart in Australia. They're the Anko brand, and the watercolour metallic, not watercolour, I'm sorry, they're metallic pencils. And then the shimmer paints that I'm using, I just bought, I think, from Temu, and they create a lovely gentle shimmer. And because they're watercolour, you can make them stronger or blend them out to virtually nothing. And I find this part of image transfer, embellishing the images, so relaxing, and it's a really great time to be creative. You could also at this stage add lots of other little things. You could add a little sprinkle of glitter. You could add other embellishments. You could add some rhinestones. You might like to even add some stickers or some washi tape. It's really the time where you choose how to finish your image. So once I'm happy with the result, I set that aside to dry. And as you can see, I did have the 3 here that I've worked on together, and I think they are looking very, very, just exactly what I was hoping for. So the resin I'm using today is a 2-part resin, and it's a 2-to-1. It's called River Art resin. And I like this resin because it's got quite a decent working time, and it does cure fairly quickly, particularly if I'm using it on my Estoyo heating mat, which is what I'm working on here. That's the black sheet below, and then when you buy that, it comes with this green silicone sheet. So now, because I'm working with resin, I have full PPE gear. You don't want to risk it. So I'm in an environment which is well ventilated, and that, I'm also wearing my gloves and a mask. So here I'm just pouring the resin on quite slowly, and I'm just working it towards the edges very carefully. And I repeat this with all 3 until I'm happy. This resin degasses quite well, and because I was using the heat mat, I wasn't too worried about bubbles. I did have an issue though. When you buy the Estoyo heating mat, it comes with a cover. And I really do think that this cover has a major design flaw. I'll show you in a moment the actual outside of the cover. It doesn't have any rigid framework inside of it. And so unfortunately, overnight while this was curing, the cover partially collapsed in and ended up getting attached to some of the coasters here. And it was really disappointing. So I've got to come up with a way of trying to fix that, I think. So here's the cover I mentioned, and it does a great job, but it's just not firm enough. So here I am the next day, just having a look at the artwork. It's they've come up really well. They've got a slight dome on them, really nice protective coating. The first two came out really well, but unfortunately my scruffy dog had a little bit of a catch on there that I'm pointing out, which came from that cover collapsing down during the night. Anyway, here they are all set up on their easels. They look exactly how I envisaged. Beautiful little fantasy dogs with a space theme. And yes, I really hope you enjoyed that process. Thank you very much for watching. If you could like with a thumbs up, leave a comment, and of course subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to do more videos. Thank you again to Tracey at MiniScenes GB for organising this fantasy summer collaboration. And thanks also to Claire at Claire's Crafty Corner for inspiring and organising these events in the past. And Wendy at Toonpish Crafts for supporting Tracey with the mammoth task of pulling everything together. And don't forget to watch all of the other wonderful fantasy summer collaboration videos by following the link in my description. It's great viewing. Now, to my fellow crafters, after creating this first video, I now have an idea of how much preparation, how many hours, editing, frustrations, blood, sweat and tears are involved. And all you ever ask of us in return is a few seconds of our time to show YouTube that we appreciate and value your work by watching your video all the way through, clicking the like button, subscribing to your channel, and commenting on your video. And all of these things are free of charge and cost us nothing. So I'm even more committed to doing that now when watching your videos, and I appreciate you very much. So, to every single crafter who has been generous and brave in creating videos that inspire and teach, providing this inspiration, education and resources that we can access for free at any time, thank you. It means the world. Thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to my next video. Bye for now.